Good morning and welcome to LazyWrita's. Now, it's Wednesday, 31st of December, the final day of 2025. Now, as we come to you live at this time this morning, the countdown to a new year is definitely on. From this moment, there are about 14 hours, 0 minutes, and, a few seconds to midnight, to the close of 2025 and the beginning of 2026. Now, these final hours of the year often carry a different kind of energy. For some, it's anticipation. For others, it's relief, reflection, or quiet resolve. But even on a day like today, the news does not pause. Stories are still unfolding, decisions are still being made, and the issues shaping our lives do not wait for the calendar to turn.
On LazyWrita's this morning, we remain focused on keeping you informed and engaged as the clock runs down on the year. From developments that will carry into 2026 to conversations that help us better understand the moments we are living in. Today's program is about staying present, paying attention, and making sense of the now, even as we look ahead. So wherever you're watching from, as preparations for the new year continue around you, thank you for spending part of this final day of 2025 with us. This is LazyWrita's, and you know the countdown continues. Now, as we get started on our final show of the year, we start with a big congratulations to our very own Dashin Usman for being named as one of the More 100 class of 2025. Wow! She was recognized as one of the voices shaping public conversation across digital, radio, television, and emerging media. From storytelling to analysis, she's one of those influencing how information travels and culture is interpreted. Well done, Dad.
Thank you. I didn't expect this. Thank you so much.
Oh no, we celebrate.
Wow, look how beautiful.
We celebrate all the time. So how does it feel?
Well, when I saw it yesterday, I didn't expect anything. I didn't even know who they were. But, I went on Google and I searched them, and I found out that they've actually been doing this for a few years. Wow. And I felt loved. I felt seen, right? And, it was a very interesting or a good way to wrap up the year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So
and are you sure this is really your picture?
No, just
I
let
need
that
to
go.
know.
I said that's what picture I knew. We don't need to tell anybody. Because this young madam here likes to experiment.
I really don't know. I don't remember posting that picture. I don't know where they found it.
You don't remember because you were posting like 2025 of them back to back to back to back to back.
But that wasn't. It's not recent.
It looks like
it's
a very old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks quite young then.
And I think I'll say something about the power of being seen. In this job, we do. Every day we do. And I want to say shout out to everyone who is front line with us as journalists, who are considered, during emergencies, not first responders, necessary people. There's a phrase for people who have to be out. And journalists are people who have to be out. So we continue to do our work through public holidays, through end of the year fatigue. And sometimes it feels like we're not seen. Sometimes it feels that we're not giving the credit or the due for the work that we put in, and there are awards and there are recognitions, and it is really, really important. The power of being seen, of being felt to be seen.
That is the idea
beautiful.
behind this particular recognition. For those who are doing so much behind the scenes, those who are doing, there are people that are out there once you're here, but those who are doing so much, this is just to recognize you and to let you know that we see what you're doing, we see your work. Keep on, doing what you do.
And this is an opportunity to plug the conversation too. So Dashin is not only on LazyWrita's. Where else can we see you on this?
I'm also on The Conversation. Yes, it happens 5 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and also on Fridays, and also on The Proof. It's a fact-checking show, by the way. So The Conversation is a Pan-African, show. We get to discuss everything, politics, recent happenings around Africa, even beyond the continent. Not forgetting is also in The Conversation. This is we share news stories from outside Africa in that particular segment. So there's a lot being done on that show behind the scenes. And also The Proof, like I said, a fact-checking show. It airs 8 p.m. on Fridays as well. So,
wow. Hard-working girl.
Yeah.
So I'm not only on LazyWrita's.
Congrats again, Mama.
Congratulations, darling.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have to just move on and give you a quick update on the crash involving Anthony Joshua. The Ogun State Police Commander said that the car crash involving former world heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua and others along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on Monday was allegedly caused by a tire burst. Ogun State Police Public Relations Officer DSP Oluseyi Babasheyi gave the clarification while giving an update on the accident at the headquarters of the command in Elewero, Abeokuta. So.
Wow. So I found this quite interesting, especially seeing it this morning. This is not what the Federal Road Safety Corps Commission had said I think within 2 or 3 hours of the initial crash. And hearing now that it's a tire burst, I'm like, okay, why are we doing this? So I think really the first response should have been, we will investigate. And then as soon as we have preliminary, as soon as we know some things, we will attend to it. So now this is from the Ogun State Police Command. Is the FRC going to come back and walk back on their initial comments and say that this was caused by overspeeding and wrong overtaking? Because it throws a new light on it. There's a lot of castigation of whoever the driver was due to the initial reports that this was caused by overspeeding and wrong overtaking. But now if you hear it's a tire burst, you have to be almost like Hollywood professional level to be able to really maneuver your car and control it if your car tire bursts on an express where you may not be overspeeding, but you are going at a considerable speed.
There's so many, kinks to stories. And I believe that now that maybe Anthony Joshua is able to communicate, I'm sure he probably would have been able to, personally shed some more light on what would have transpired before the accident happened and the driver. Because the two of them are the survivors of this crash. I'm sure they'd have been able to shed some light. And that is why sometimes before we give out information, we have to be sure. Because if you speculate, see the way social media has gone since yesterday. In fact, if it was possible to blame the president, they would blame him. There's nothing everybody had not said. And I don't know why it just goes off on me that there are some things that probably is not caused by Nigeria and our challenges. It might not be about a bad road. It might not be about anything that are our usual challenges. Things just happen out of, an act that we cannot explain. But whether we like it or not, everybody will want to attribute it to something. And another thing I want to bring out is the fact that everybody on social media seems to want to say something about everything. This sends fear, panic, anxiety to the hearts of millions that are probably listening. And it depends on how influential who is talking is. That determines the reach or how the weight of whatever the person is saying, it comes to the ears of Nigerians. And it just makes me kind of unhappy.
I actually agree with Tolu when she said that, it looks like they're trying to, because so many people have also speculated.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like they're trying to cover
They leave us
their
to
back.
do that because we never see information.
Yes, they do that a lot. But then they should have waited, investigated, and then come out with a proper, communicate telling us, the cause of the crash and all that. And it makes you wonder. There have been accidents happening all through the year, but none has actually touched us like Anthony Joshua, probably because he came from abroad, and we're seeing this happening.
He's a hero. He's a Nigerian hero.
Exactly. So it cuts really deep, right? And then I'm here wondering, if you're even going to cover your tracks or make it look like it wasn't your fault, what was a stationary trailer, a stationary truck doing by the side of the road? In other climes, in other climes, you find that they have trailer parks where these trailers go. But you go to Suleja now, I'm telling you, from when you drive out of Abuja to Suleja, you'd find trailers parked beside the road, and I mean double parking, right? So many things happening. Why don't these trailers have a trailer park where they can actually go, park, do whatever they have to do, and then move?
I use that road. My husband uses that road. My husband travels a lot.
Do?
There are not everywhere, but there are trailer parks in certain areas. And along that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, there's actually parts they don't park there.
They don't.
Or if you even get there, it's so full. People have made it like you're there for a week. You're not supposed to be. It's an opportunity for you to stop, do what you need to do, and be on your way.
Before you move.
Is that not even better? Don't you remember when tankers used to park along mile 2?
Yeah.
I was in the midst of one, if I don't even know what to call it. On both sides of the road, there were tanker drivers parked before someone would climb down on them. It became like a major issue that they had. Even I remember the former vice president, Professor Shibaju, had to come to Lagos to look at it. I said, why do we have to wait until something bad happens before we begin to look at some of these things that make us look bad internationally? Do you know that this accident alone has sent such a negative signal out? People have started talking all sorts of, even though I don't like that, family is village people. He came to Nigeria for Oble, see what has happened.
Some saying it's a ritual and everything. I don't believe that. But then, even as early as today, I saw a lot of Americans going on social media complaining, saying as big as Nigeria is, with over 200 million people, you do not have an ambulance service. So
I think that's where, for me, I've seen it in a lot of the comments. So these accidents can happen anywhere. And yesterday, when we were looking at the accident level, the Federal Road Safety Commission put out the number of accidents that had happened in Nigeria last year. I'm trying to get it because I saw it and I approved it for a slide and now I can't find it. But we don't have as many road traffic accidents when you look at the numbers as many other countries. And I don't think it's per se about the accidents as it is about the response to the accidents and what happens after the accident. So I'm still scrolling through the group because, okay, here it is. So according to the FRSC, National Road Accident Data for 2025, total road crashes from January to September of this year were 7,715 road traffic crashes recorded nationwide, and that was September. So just think that between September and now would have added up maybe around 10,000, 12,000. And then don't forget that there are road crashes that happen in places that are difficult to get to. So all these villages you're trying to get to. But it says that around 3,915 people were killed in the crashes that were recorded from January to September, and over 24,000 people were injured. The point I'm making here is not necessarily the crashes. Again, it is the response. First responders, it is also the response, where are the ambulances? Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Lagos-Ogun, whatever, those expressways in a way are notorious. Just the same way we see police and ambulance posted on 3rd Mainland Bridge. We should see police and ambulance posted along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And they have been there. Over years, I've seen them, but it feels like it's not consistent. It feels like they're too far spaced out. It's just a lot of questions.
There's so many things that we should not just do because it happens. It's just like when Ebola came and when we had COVID and everybody washed their hands. Have you noticed that everybody has just gone back to what used to be? We shouldn't wait until there's an emergency thing happening before what is supposed to be is supposed to be. I remember that on 3rd Mainland, in that halfway into coming to Yaba, you will see an emergency,
like a shed,
a little shed there. We should have pockets of places like that, even public toilets. I remember the day I was coming to work and I had diarrhea. Oh my God, I was literally cursing out, praying that God, why can't we just have a restroom, even if I have to pay? Well, now that we're having
those, especially around markets.
But they're not along the road. So if you're traveling, you make use of bush. Lola, let's hold this. We have a guest standing by. We have a really important conversation, but it's one that will continue to come to, because I'm expecting to hear from the FRSC, because Ogun State is saying one thing and FRSC had given us another piece of information. So where does the truth lie?
Well, as we count down to the final hours of 2025, we turn to a conversation that many are finding difficult but necessary. Well, after the break, we'll be joined by Dr. Bojubola Abiri, consultant psychiatrist and COO at CEDAW Foundation, to talk about mental health, creativity, and the cost of visibility in the digital age following the death of social media influencer LazyWrita. We'll explore the pressures of living publicly online, the struggles that often go unseen, and what this moment should teach us as we prepare to step into a new year. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Jasiri, the last day of the year. You're watching the last Jasiri for the year 2025, and this last day of the year often carries a mix of anticipation and quiet pause. And even now, as many turn their attention to celebrations and resolutions, some stories demand careful attention and thoughtful engagement. One short story is the death of a social media influencer and creative writer known as LazyWrita, who scheduled a farewell post, sent shockwaves across online communities, and reopened pressing conversations about mental health, visibility, and the unseen weight of life in the public spaces. Today on Jasiri, we create room for perspective and understanding to unpack what these moments reveals about the pressure facing creators, the signal that often go unnoticed, and the responsibilities shared by platforms, audiences, and the society at large. As the year draws to a close, this conversation invites us to look beyond the screen, to listen more closely, and to consider how we carry care and awareness into the year ahead. Joining us now is Dr. Gbojubola Abiri, consultant, psychiatrist, and COO at CEDO Foundation. Dr. Abiri, welcome back to Jasiri.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's lovely to be here.
It's good to have her, but it's sad to have her because of what's caused this conversation to come about, but unfortunate. So let's pick it up. So many Nigerians are still reeling from the death by suicide of Nigerian influencer Anda Damisa, known online as LazyWrita. Now, in the months before his death, the internet personality had actually opened up about taking a step back from social media because of his mental health. In an October 2025 post, he wrote, quote, "October really put me through it, mentally, emotionally, and in ways I didn't see coming. Some days felt heavy and some lessons hit too hard, but I kept pushing through. I learned about patience, discipline, and the kind of strength that only shows up when life tests you." End of quote. I know that family and friends are looking back, trying to see if they missed anything, dealing with how to accept this loss. So Dr. Abiri, let's start from there. Are there always signs when people may be dealing with suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts, or even that might be going too far? Are there always signs when people might be dealing with depression?
All right, so thank you, and it's good to be back. I remember walking out the studio last week and you were like, "Oh, see you next year."
Next year,
not knowing that we're going to have a conversation that was, this important. Again, a reminder that mental health takes no break.
Yeah.
Or mental health issues take no break. Again, before I answer that question, I would like to, of course, share my condolences with family, friends, loved ones, and of course, online followers.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I didn't know about LazyWrita up until, this happened. But then again, sometimes you may not know the individual, but the situation or the circumstance around their death or their passing is significant enough for it to be collective trauma for all of us. So whether you're in Nigeria, I mean, the online platform is so big, everybody all over the world is reading this news. Now, to the question as to whether or not there are signs, it's the response I almost always give when I'm asked questions about, so when someone is struggling with mental health issues, when someone is suicidal, how do we know? And the truth is, sometimes you may never know. Sometimes there are no signs, and even that in itself is scary because, these individuals look like they have their lives all together. They look like everything, is going on well, and unfortunately, there's a misrepresentation because if that is the only thing that we take away, I mean, look at people like Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain. These were people that people looked up to, loved the lives that they had, and kept wishing for their lives as well. So sometimes there are no signs. However, in some individuals, and as we did see in the case of LazyWrita, sometime in October, there was this verbalization of the fact that he was going through it. He was going through a lot of challenges that even he could not fathom or understand or know how to deal with. And so sometimes people actually verbally express exactly what they're going through in those words. I'm struggling. Some people will actually look at you and tell you, I don't want to be here anymore. So sometimes it's not always in those words, I want to end my life or I want to stop living. Some people just say, wouldn't it be nice if I just went away? Wouldn't it be nice if, this race stopped for me? Sometimes people just drop subtle hints like that. But sometimes the other things that we can also look out for is that these individuals change from who they usually are. And so individuals who are usually boisterous, loud, who are the life of the party, just suddenly become extremely quiet, withdrawn, socially isolated, they don't want to speak to anyone, they don't want to see anyone. And sometimes, of course, what also happens is that they lose interest in previously enjoyed activities. For some individuals, we also see that their risk appetite is high. Individuals who are, not usually taking a lot of alcohol, start drinking excessively, engaging in activities like, unprotected sex, driving, crazily on highways and all of that. So sometimes it's all of these things that we should look out for. Some may even start to neglect their physical health. So they might be hypertensive, diabetic. They know that they should take their medications regularly, but they just, throw all their hands up in the air and they say, you know what, I really don't know what's going on. I don't want to take care of myself anymore.
And so even in the November 10 post, he acknowledged that he had been quieter than usual on social media. His friends had asked why he had disappeared online and also disappeared in life as well. And he said that it got to a time everything felt too loud and he couldn't just keep up anymore. The things that used to bring me joy started to feel heavy, and even the simplest moments lost their spark. And I stepped away to breathe, to remember who I was beneath all the noise. I took a pause long enough to feel alive again. That's the quote, that's the post he had on November the 10th. And this makes me think about our recent conversation when you were here last week, where we thought we would see you next year. And it was a conversation about smiling through December, where we explored the hidden emotional cost of the festive season and the pressure to feel happy and be joyful. So Dr. Abiri, especially for influencers, people who live so much of their lives online, not just even influencers, even regular people, because we live so much of our lives online, do you think that maybe particularly with influencers, they feel pressure to never show that things get hard? Are they expected to wear this online mask because they have these deals and they're doing these partnerships and life is just, people are doing God when for their situation?
So there's a lot of pressure that comes with social media, and I would start with what started at the beginning of this year. At the beginning of this year, remember what the slogan was? Day for you. And I remember coming up with a psychiatrist's perspective to that conversation about how, many times we're selfish when we're looking out for people who look out for us, because there's some people who can't even look out for themselves. There's some people who there's this facade about, oh, they're doing so well, they're doing so great, but underneath it, people are grappling with a lot of issues. Everyone is going through something that we know nothing about. And it's the reason why I always say, be kind. So creatives, more often than not, and people whose lives, you're drinking, it's on social media, you're eating, is on social media, you're about to go to sleep, you're traveling, it's on social media. Your entire life is on social media. Your entire life is being scrutinized. It's being validated. It's under a lot of pressure. The pressure of whether, they almost always have to live a performative life. Sometimes I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at these individuals and I'm like, this is hard. It's hard work to be able to
be consistent and
to be able to pick up, to be able to show up. Even in my own practice, sometimes I look at my work and I'm like, oh, I'm not there every day. I can't be there every day. I can't keep up every day because, there are other aspects of my own life. Of course, it's also quite difficult when you now look at other people. Oh, this person is doing so well. This person has so many. So success in life now is almost always dependent on how well you're doing on social media. But that's not the reality. That's just a fraction. And when people put up beautiful things, beautiful posts, that's just a highlight reel. A highlight reel is different from, what the individual is really going through. So I think that when people need to take a lesson from these conversations. Things are not always what they say. The grass is always greener on the other side, but you never know that the water bill is higher as well. People put a lot of pressure, a lot of time. They need to show up, they need to psych up themselves. And when individuals come out, like he came out, to talk about the fact that he was going through a lot of things, I don't know that people saw through this. Because again, it wasn't once. It was in October, it was in November, it was probably in other posts that no one ever saw. We don't know if anyone reached out to him to say, Guy, do you want to talk to someone? Are you speaking to someone? This is not a road that you should walk alone. It can be quite lonely. And you need people who can see you, who can see beyond the seeming perfection. People who really get you and people who understand what you're going through. So again, creatives are disproportionately affected, and it's because they don't have safety nets. They have a life without structure. They have, targets that they're trying to meet. They have deals that they have to show up for every day. It's tough. Imagine how tough it is for you. It's tougher for them.
Dr. Abiri, I think we'd have to go on a break now. We'll be back. When we come back, we'll continue. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. Now, creativity is often celebrated, but the emotional labor behind it is rarely discussed, especially in a culture, that rewards output but ignores exhaustion. I know how many times I've tried, influencing, but I could not keep up at all. We still have Dr. Bojubola Abiri, consultant psychiatrist and COO at CEDO Foundation. She's with us as we look at breaking the online mask, mental health, creativity, and the cost of visibility. Dr. Abiri, thank you for staying with us. Please go ahead and tell us, how do algorithms, engagement pressure, and a relevance culture intensify emotional strain for some of these creators?
All right, so I think that one of the most important things that we need to realize right now is to understand that the internet, social media as we know it, life as we know it has changed. Previously, the drugs that we knew were substances of abuse like alcohol, marijuana, to mention but a few. But these days, the internet and social media has taken that place. And what do I mean by that? There's a center in the brain that is called the reward center. There's a neurotransmitter in the brain that is called dopamine. And when you are exposed to something you like, whether it is food, whether it is sex, whether it is substances of abuse,
whether it is validation,
whether it is validation, which is online, you get a hit, you get a dopamine hit. So imagine how you feel. Any one of us, you put a picture online,
and people like it,
and people like it. You feel seen, you feel heard, you feel validated. There's no one on earth that does not like to be seen. And that's what social media and the internet is doing to us in these days. You would know, of course, that Australia just put a ban on teenagers because there's a lot of damage that is being done. You see, these devices, they're small, they're handheld, but the damage that they're causing to individuals, because again, people are living life based on comparison. How many followers does this person have? Oh, we started together. How many likes do they have? How many deals have they gotten? And that is how life is being measured now. The success of life, if you ask me, these days, it's not about, at the end of the day, how much money people make. People are weighing their lives based on what is happening in an alternative reality on the internet. And so real life doesn't really matter that much anymore. What people think matters is the validation that they see online.
But you can actually turn off their options. You can turn off comments. You can turn off likes.
So what you're missing is that the dopamine that she's talking about, it becomes a high. And then you're constantly chasing it. So especially with social media, there are people who, once they post a picture, they can't drop this phone. Every 5 minutes. How many people have liked? They drop it, they pick it back up. It's addictive. It is very addictive. So just don't start.
Don't start. Let me even move it up to another level, because sometimes I was talking in the makeup room and I said, most of these creatives now, they have money. What do you now do when your creative expression become tied to your income plus your validation or survival? Does the public feedback, both praise and criticism, impact somebody that is already struggling internally? But you see that this is where they're making money from. And these young people, it seems money is the only thing they make from it. They don't have character, they don't have resilience, they don't know what it takes to build. And I try to make my children want something. Even if they're asking for something, I make sure that they don't have it all, so that they know what it means to anticipate. But this young generation, or doctor, maybe I'm wrong, maybe those values are no longer needed, like discipline, like resilience, like diligence, passion, consistency, focus. Are those things becoming extinct in this generation?
So you've raised a very good point, a very valid point, and that valid point is the fact that a lot of young people these days are unable to delay gratification. They want it now, they want it here, they want it how they want it, and they don't want the world to dictate what they want. Unfortunately, like you rightly said, beyond character, beyond values of integrity, beyond dignity, beyond hard work, is the fact that these individuals are also, money. Money is tied to this creative thing that they do. And unfortunately, albeit, money is not everything. Money is important, but there are other things that individuals also need to develop. I mean, I've sat in a room with creatives, and in all honesty, when I sit there, I'm just wondering, I'm thinking, how are these people really, really, really coping? Beyond showing up and putting up appearances every day, who is checking in on these people? Who is asking them questions? I remember talking with someone and talking about how someone had gone on tour and didn't have such a great tour. And I'm like, does this person have a psychologist on their team? Beyond all the people who are there when, things are good and things are looking, who talks to them when they're behind closed doors? Who holds their hands and helps them understand that, see, it's entirely normal. You can't be liked all the time, and you can't be on top forever.
I'm looking at like a Burna Boy situation. That Burna Boy situation, I know we looked at it from this angle, and sometimes you're wondering that, do they really have psychiatrists or psychologists? Because before someone would do like that to a fan openly, I just think there is more to it. It's like lashing out.
Yeah.
Is it that they don't see a need, or their team do not see a need? Or does it happen in other climes? You know, sometimes Nigerians like fad. Maybe if they see that, oh, in a Cardi B, maybe entourage, there is this makeup artist, a stylist, and a psychiatrist. Maybe it will become like something they want to jump on.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's probably not the norm yet. I remember managing a, superstar a few years ago who had some media issues one time. And, when I sat with him and I said, this thing, we could have spun it around. If you had spoken to the right people, if you had, had a psychologist on your team, someone to help you understand, guide you, understand that they were normal. But unfortunately, what these people turn to in times of difficulty are people who are praise singers, who are just there because of what they can get, and unfortunately, substance of abuse.
And then they help to fuel the fire.
Unfortunately.
So in terms of that, coming back, especially with how much comparison we all are doing on social media, and I like how you said it, social media is a highlight reel. Nobody's ever going to show you the worst of themselves until it gets to a point where for some reason it might even be profitable for them to do so, because we also know that people profit on pain and on anxiety, on trauma, on bad situations. But when we look at this comparison culture that seems to be what is happening very strongly on social media, do you think that, does it worsen anxiety? I have the answer already, but I need people to hear it from a doctor. Does it worsen anxiety? Does it worsen or sort of create situations that lead to the potential for depression, the potential for addictive behaviors, the attention, I said the word and it has gone now. But do you understand what I mean?
Yes,
so
I do.
With social media, looking at the Lazy Writer situation, looking at even just how some of it has played out, the comparison culture we all seem to live in right now, is it pushing all of us towards a place where we could be experiencing anxiety and depression?
Well, so you know what they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
It's the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Comparison takes away peace. And unfortunately, if it's unhealthy comparison, then it makes things more difficult. Unfortunately, we live in an environment where people are constantly comparing. And, I always joke about it when people say that, oh, Nigerians compare to the extent that even a generator has a name, I better pass my neighbor. That's how much comparison has eaten deep into us as a people. Unfortunately, because a lot of people don't have the solid foundation of some of the things that you had mentioned earlier on. Resilience, grit, tenacity, strength, even in difficult times. You tell someone and you're like, oh, you're struggling with this kid. Why don't you take this child to the psychologist? They're like, I reject it. It's not my portion. You see, sometimes you are seeing the problem before it comes. And there might not be a problem. You're just trying to give that individual a good start in life. So yes, comparison can be the foundation, or it can be one of the many factors that would propel an individual to anxiety and or depression. Again, mood problems, anxiety problems are common around us. We must understand that it's not just one factor. We're looking at, financial difficulty. We're looking at societal challenges. We're looking at even things like cyberbullying online, stalking, a lot of all those things.
You know when you say this, I was having a conversation with my husband this weekend, and I said, we say Nigeria is, I'm so sorry, you people won't like it. Nigeria is too poor to be as elitist and classist as we tend to be. We are people, many people who are in poverty, but they find a way to better pass man. They always want to be one rung above. What's wrong with us? Why are we like that? We are so poor across board, but we're yet so elitist and classist. I didn't say classy, I said classist. Nigerians are very classist. Why?
Well, it goes back to the self-esteem issues, self-perception, self-worth. Who am I?
But we're very prideful, arrogant people.
We are. Unfortunately,
we're also prideful and arrogant.
Unfortunately, what fuels it is all of this. Low self-esteem, low confidence levels, low self-perception, low self-worth. If it was fueled by the right things, then it would be confidence, it wouldn't be pride. But unfortunately, a lot of people, and it may be, because of what has been handed down to them, what society has taught them, what they have learned from society, what they have modeled from society as well. So again, it may not be an individual problem. it may be a family problem, it may be a society problem. You know how it is, someone bashes your car and they come out and you say, oh, do you know who I am? People almost always say the same thing.
We still don't know who you are.
Exactly, we don't know who you are.
Dr. Abiri, we'll be right back. We need to go on a quick break because we have so many questions. You'll be back here. Just take your attendance in the new year because we will use you extensively. We'll be back in a short while. Let's just take a break.
Well, we're still talking about the pressures of living publicly online with Dr. Abiri. Now, Dr. Abiri, just before, we're about wrapping up the show, can you tell us what is the line between awareness and sensationalism, in cases like this? How should media organizations responsibly report stories involving suicide and also mental health?
Also, that difference for me would be the fact that sensationalism is pleasure-seeking. Like Tolu said earlier on, how are we profiting from the pain? The goal is not to profit from the pain. The goal is to understand that some individuals are in pain. A life has been lost. A life that we can create has been lost. And of course, awareness involves that we should give support to people. So people listening, encourage people. Do you know that for every completed suicide, there are 10 to 30 attempts?
And it's usually not the first attempt.
It's exactly. It's usually not. Yeah. So it's important that we know those facts. So when you're making people aware, you're informing them, you're educating them, you're advocating for mental health, you're telling them that this is where, and of course, even being right here, we could see the numbers on screen. So you're also giving them tools to be able to help themselves. Media organizations talk about it, but there should be responsible reporting of suicide. There should be no sensationalization. No, oh, this is what he did, this is how he did it, or,
Language matters.
Language matters. Yeah, we're talking about language. And of course, avoid the blame and the shame. People need to know that these people need to be seen. You see, to be honest, more often than not, when you speak with someone who attempted, they're like, I just wanted the pain to stop. If someone had seen me, if someone had heard me. There's this very popular story in America about a man who was going to the bridge, a very popular bridge to end his life. And he kept saying, if one person could just see me, and one person did see him, and that was the turning point for him. And so sometimes, and we did talk about it on the show last week, reach out to people who you think are otherwise fine. People who seem to have it all together.
The strong friend.
The strong friend, but who are going through things. It's important that we reach out to these people.
Let me ask, in observing, because we're going into, this is one of the stories that it pains you to take as you end the year. But we're also needing to help people and expand the conversation as we enter a new year and look at the choices we're going to make in the responses to Anda Damisa's death and how the conversations have flown. What have you observed, and what does this tell you about how Nigerians understand mental health and mental health struggles?
Well, unfortunately, and you know how people just
have we failed? F9. F9.
People go to the comment section. So again, the blame and shame. People start comparing struggles, which is also something. So comparison again. But what exactly is he going through? He seemed to have everything. He had a car. He had that. I mean, not in this case, but that's what people start to say. What exactly was this person going through? Again, the comparison game. You are belittling the issues that this person said they were going through. So a lot of that is in the comment section. People clearly do not understand. And of course, people still don't give attention to what is important. Just because something appears glamorous does not mean that that individual is not struggling. So again, I think that people need to pause, pay attention, give mental health the attention that it truly deserves. Seeking for help is not a sign of weakness.
Yes.
Instead, it is strength. There's a lot of courage when you're vulnerable, when you say that I can't do this anymore, I can't do this alone, please, I need someone to hold my hand. And I think that very importantly, we also need to see other people. I think that a good acronym to end this with would be the acronym of CARE. Check in. The C is check in. Check in on even people who are strong. Ask openly. If I'd seen this kind of person, I'd have asked him, have you thought about ending your life? Are you tired? Ask directly. People often think that when you ask directly, it means that the individual will go on ahead, or you're putting ideas in their head. Definitely not. Ask. Because sometimes it opens that pathway for you to come in. Then the R says that you must respond empathetically. See this individual. I'm so sorry you're going through whatever you're going through. It will be okay. Maybe not right now. It's a process. And of course, the last is that you encourage them to seek help. Sometimes go for help with them. I know someone. Would you like
Hold
to
their
speak with
hand
someone?
there.
Hold their hand. I would like to sit in your first therapy session if you don't mind. Who would you like to speak to? Do you want to speak? Is it me you want to speak to? I will check in with you every time. We all need care. And I think that it's important that we take that away. Everyone needs someone to see them.
We'll end the conversation on that note. Dr. Abiri, thank you as always for bringing clarity and I think also at this point empathy to these kinds of conversations. We also ask that you continue to pick our call because I'm actually going to call you whenever we call. This brings us to the end of our discussion today. And of course, as we've explored the hidden pressures behind creativity, the cost of living visibly online, and the ways mental health struggles can remain unseen, even for those who appear joyful, successful, or even free. And we've also shared hotline numbers with you. Please, please, please make use of them if for some reason this conversation has gotten to you. They're on the screen again. Please call. These are toll-free. They have trained counselors waiting on the other end to talk to you. Now, from all of us at Jasiri, we have to say thank you for spending these final hours of 2025 with us. May the coming year bring clarity, compassion, and connection in ways that matter most. Happy New Year in advance, and stay with us for the stories that will shape 2026. And for the last time in 2025, bye.
Happy New Year!
We'll see you guys on the other side.